So tell us, Dan, how are we, without checking your stories like we always do with trepidation, how are we growing the business?
So, when it comes to the dance industry, I think when you look at our society in general, when everything has an opportunity cost, so people can decide to do many things with their free time. It doesn't necessarily have to be ballroom dancing. It could be like, for instance, hip hop dancing. They could be doing yoga, Pilates, playing video games and whatnot. So I kind of feel like when we as an industry look at what we need to do, not even like talking about just like the competitive side of things, but just like the dance industry in general, I find that, we sometimes forget that people don't have to come to dance. People don't have to come to us. And due to that lack of awareness, sometimes I notice that when we as members of the industry interact with, let's say, potential clients, we sometimes have this sense of like, there's so much more that we can do for the clients than they can do for us. And in a way, it is kind of true. Like we offer something that they want, but it's not like we're the only thing that, we're the only people that can offer that, if that makes any sense. So I think sometimes we lose track of, or rather lose sight of that. And we have this idea that, people come here to serve us, even though they're the ones that are paying us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you think people get too like fancy and entitled in a way that they deserve this, that people are lucky to come to them rather than the other way around?
Yeah, it's kind of like, someone will say like, like I've won this and that, therefore, you're lucky to be in my presence. Versus
like a 2-times world championship in rhythm? amateur world champion.
It's like, especially, having gone through the pandemic, that was kind of an eye-opener for a lot of us in terms of like how non-essential we basically were. So I think sometimes if we just remember that at the end of the day, we're an optional experience and we need to make that experience extremely worthwhile. I think if everyone just remembered that, this industry would already go such a long way. And it's sometimes frustrating to me in particular because I see instances where it really just takes one bad apple to spoil the entire batch.
Do you feel like that's the case for like comps too? So I was at Virginia last weekend, Francesco's comp, and not that it was bad before, but like this year, it's kind of Francesco's, I don't know what you would say your thing is, but there's a thing where now it's like, okay, Francesco's part of this. He was in the ballroom all day saying hi to everyone, and then, he was even giving us Monopoly money during the party, like Uncle Moneybags, like, play some blackjack on me, And so, that's a different experience from other competitions. IGB right now, we're all at, by the way, 2023, going rather nicely, I think. So, do you find that's not just pros for lessons, but also other parts of the industry, like competitions too? Because I think I've heard you say stuff about competitions being difficult in that manner too.
I definitely do agree on that. Yeah, there's this, sometimes I find that, without naming any particular names, there are organizers that have this mindset that, you guys are lucky that we're putting together this competition for you guys. And, to an extent, yeah, as professionals, competitions provide an extra avenue for us to earn income with our students. They provide a metric, a goal, something that a hard deadline, something that we can use to kind of motivate our students, increase sales, increase lessons and all that. So, they're not wrong, but at the same time, again, the pandemic was definitely a good eye-opener for us. They're not the only ways people can work on things. We could just put together our own performances. We could do studio showcases, or even just go to different competitions. So sometimes I kind of feel like just not losing sight of that perspective that, it's competitions can't be run without competitors. I mean, I guess it can be.
Sure, yeah. No, not for many years.
Yeah.
So what was the secret sauce this year? Like, what is your first year like being an organizer, right? And already right out the gate, I thought it was pretty good.
The game for me is like, I don't run a dance competition. I'm just using the dancing as a tool of entertainment. So to me, like, yeah, you can dance, but you can have fun. You can make friends. You can meet people. Of course, you can dance too. But the game in Virginia for me was like entertain everybody. Everybody's VIP for me. It's no different between the champion or the not champion. Everybody's a champion.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
And that's how I roll over there. So it's not just me being the ballroom and say hi to everybody. I'm in the ballroom with everybody. So the key to me is like, it's like a good restaurant. You have many options. In New York, they having A, B, C in the door. I tell you how clean, how good is the restaurant. Or in other places, they put a 5-star review. I want to have an A everywhere and 5-star everywhere. And to do that, I got to be there and take care of everybody the way they deserve to be taken care of. So I don't see customers. I see happy people willing to spend their money in my restaurant or in my dance event or in my competition. You can call whatever you want, but to me, it's like spending time with me, my partners, my organizer, my staff. Everybody have one role, the people. So the game is very simple, actually. To me, come out easy. It was like, why not? Why try to be special? No. People gotta say we are special for the way we treat them. So
I heard Dan Messenger say one year at, what was his, Wisconsin? Was that his? Yeah. That like someone was, I forget, it was a discussion sort of on the side, and the people were talking about some political issue that was going on, and he's like, we're not gonna talk about that here. People are here for entertainment, like you just said, right? Like, but that's maybe on the competition side in some sense, but as teachers, like Steve, I think I wouldn't be wrong to say you have had, I know at least one of your students from when I even first met you. I mean, this student has been your student for, so as long as I've known you, like 21 years, 22 years, you're A, or used to be A, like rhythm and Latin student. I don't think it's entertainment anymore at that point, right? It's like we're selling entertainment, maybe it's, I don't even know. So what do you say that student's here for? Like, because we offer that too.
Yeah, I think that in our industry, there's a lot of different functions for it. I've never been the type that spends a lot of time at a competition socially. Not that I don't appreciate it or encourage it. It's just that has never been the function of competitions for me. It's always been a place where I get to set goals, challenge my students, see where I am in the curve based on what people are producing, based on that level. So that's mostly been why what I've used competitions for. The hard part being a consumer is understanding what is it that I want for myself. And as a pro-am teacher, I want an organized event that runs like clockwork, and it's the bare minimum. I would say that's where we start. Then from there you go, I want a host. And I think that what a lot of competition organizers don't understand is that, yeah, you may be the organizer, but really you're a promoter and a host. You're a promoter most of the year, and then you're a host during the event, and you create an environment in which you feel welcome and that you want to come back next year because you go, I feel appreciated, and people actually acknowledge that I exist.
Correct.
So there's that part. Then you have, obviously the venue and the floor, and, you want it to be at the right price and for the right thing. But one of the things that what I feel like most organizers kind of fail to see is that I would say that they create the opportunity for the most possible access to our industry, not the studios, because what I find is that if organizers recognize that they have a value, because if I can get local people that have never danced to come and watch and just fill that room with new bodies, create a new experience. If you are a great organizer and you're able to I know this organizers are already putting a lot of financial liability when they decide to run a competition. So it's not that we don't appreciate what they do, because I think it's really important to understand that that's a big part of it. But you go into a competition and the room is absolutely empty and there's nobody watching. And it's like...
That's the hardest thing. It seems
that is
because no one has that figured out, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's like you go to one of the big competitions and there's no signage that this is going on, You
mean like publicly?
Publicly.
Yeah.
And it's like people would pay to come and watch.
Yeah.
And it's, are we like overpricing it so that people are not willing to come and watch? Or
You always find the formula. The key is always, the keyword is the formula, the strategy. So I'm agree. Some event, I'm walking in and like, oh yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But also there's some event where it's sold out. So of course, nobody will tell you the secret. I will not tell you my secret. We are in Virginia. We don't have one seat available. It was sold out completely.
Yeah.
He was there. And of course, the energy is different when you're dancing in front of a gazillion of people cheering for you, or when you're dancing for the empty chair and you got to do the bow to a chair.
Yeah. It's a beautiful chair.
Yes. I used to do Pro-Am until 5 years ago, and I got you.
Yeah.
So I'm agree. Like, why I had to spend this money to dance for a chair? Why I had to go in public when it's not public, So is the formula to create a successful event is, yes, to have you guys, but I need the audience. So it's something people supposed to figure it out. Sometimes you got to do mistakes to learn.
Sure.
When you were saying that having the ballroom with, like, say, new people for the community, right? That's great, because it's some percentage of those people are going to be like, hey, that looks fun. I like that guy, Steve, or I like that guy, Dan. I would try and find out his information. So that's also offering like especially if that was regular, like if it became so regular that teachers knew, if you go and dance, aside from the comp or whatever, you're likely to pick up a new student or two. So, that would be huge, right? Like, it's like, that's a totally different incentive to show up. And I think no one really expects that. And okay, you're from out of town, that's not possible. But local teachers would come, you'd see a huge amount of support just to be there. And for them, it's the opportunity. But there's sort of been a long-term, I don't know if it's a confusion, but maybe disagreement on who's the customer of a comp. Is it the teacher or the / studio? Because they bring all the students. And if I convince the teacher, then everyone else comes with them. Like, who are you selling? Or on the day, it's kind of everyone. But like initially, are you trying to please, like, who's your buyer? And it's both, right? But like, what's the percentage? Is it more one or the other?
I travel a lot. I go in many studios. And all I do, I don't push the ladies already, they're competing, because they already go through the process. But what do? I make sure everybody in the studio, which I don't know any of them, I just meet all these new people. I make sure they come to see an event. And I tell them, come and see once. Let's see if you like it. Now the studio, 6 months later, made way more money than ever, because they all want to be involved. But you also got to bring them in a venue where...
Yeah, it's fun.
An impression,
But that's the thing, is that you're approaching it from a promoter side, and then first taking advantage of your situation, the fact that you're traveling to promote the event in a way in which is welcoming. And then once you actually running the event, is becoming a great host and making them feel...
That's like it's like a totally different hat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I feel is that the unfortunate thing is that a lot of the organizers don't understand that that's a big part of the system. And they take for granted,
You need the hosting side.
The hosting side for sure. For sure. And then the way they promote it...
You're good at that.
He's excellent. You're excellent at that.
Let me tell you, everybody when they're young, they want to be an astronaut, pilot. I want to be Sensodano.
I don't.
Totally.
What was the word? Impresario? As someone who runs events, impresario. Yeah.
So this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to make sure all of you have a business, like don't know where to put the student anymore. And I don't want you guys, after you teach 10 lessons a day, gotta go on the street and find new customer. That's supposed to be my job now. Because I used to do what you guys do. I used to compete. I used to look for students. And I always realized nobody helped me to do that. The system don't help me. My friends, they cannot help me. They have a different job. The one that doing, my colleagues, they got to take care of their own business. Yep. So the moment I decided to stop competing, I'm like, I got to make sure everybody have business. But this is what I enjoy to do. I like to see regular people in the studio, just at the beginner class. I invite them all to Virginia. Now they all start competing. Yeah. All the studio owners, they're like, how did you do that? Naturally, come see how beautiful it is. If you don't like it, I got it. Don't do it. I don't push anybody.
What does a good host feel like for you?
Acknowledges you.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. I think it's the fact that they acknowledge you. I've been to events where there's 10 people in the room. I'm number 11, and the organizer does not even know I exist. And it's like, you're not really running the event.
Yeah.
At this point, you have a chairman, you have registration.
Yeah.
You're literally just walking around.
Yeah.
Like,
come say hi.
I don't need to fix anything.
Yeah.
Fix me.
See, you're always here. What are you supposed to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the point is, to me, it's not a job. That's why it was successful, because for me it was like, yeah, this is awesome, because I do what I like to do.
Yeah, I think that your personality, that's really well.
We should not complain or criticize organizer. You know, in the jungle we have the lion, the zebra, the giraffe. Everybody is a different animal. And the kind of animal like to be there all day.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Yeah.
Like now I'm here with you guys, but even when my shift is finished judging, I don't leave the ballroom until the chairman had to tell me by the rules, you got to leave the ballroom.
Yeah.
You cannot stay to socialize. I'm like, what I got to do?
What are you into, Dan?
What I got to do?
I think the tricky thing is sometimes people are a little unaware of the scope of like their talents and abilities. Like, sometimes, like, why do we ultimately always go into business? At the end of the day, it's to make a living. But if you're not capable of doing the things that the business entails, it kind of begs the question, well, why did you choose this business? So, sometimes I'll see how organizers kind of talk about the job. And in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, well, why did you become an organizer then? You probably could have been just fine, just like continuing to like do what you were already doing prior to being an organizer, just simply being a teacher or a program instructor or running a studio. And if there were issues with that are also relevant to the failings as an organizer, it kind of makes you wonder like if this is even the right industry. And I keep referencing the lockdown. One of the nice things about lockdown was it was kind of like a nice little equalizer. It kind of reset everything. So like people that were kind of getting by through brute force, they lost all of that. And the ones that really had the chops to, run good events, keep their studios alive, keep their students happy, like that really showed. So, in my opinion, if an organizer is not good at being a host, it's not like it's impossible to learn how, they can, like there's so many people in this industry, there's so many people they can ask, they can even just talking to your students can go such a long way. Whenever I try to teach my students, I always try to be extremely receptive to their feedback as well, not just like feedback for me as a teacher, but feedback for organizers as studio owners and all of that. So I try to be extremely aware of that. So
do you get feedback from your students? Like the sense I get from looking into your social is that either you have just your own strong opinions or you're hearing a lot from the bottom up from your student pool about problems mostly studios, I guess, because you're mostly there, but also at competitions. So what's lacking for them? Yeah.
It's built, of course, it's built upon our combined experiences. So it's like what I feel, like my tenure in pro has not been very long yet. Like I've only just hit my 10-year mark very recently, and then so like being on the amateur side of things still feels very fresh for me. So I still remember a lot of how I felt when I was attending these events as merely a student or as an amateur. But also, yeah, I have a lot of students that, I try my best to listen to all of them. So my opinions are definitely constructed upon the commonalities that I find among all of them. And, like, I talk with like other studio owners, other organizers as well. So I try to take their perspective in mind as well. But again, like, at the end of the day, I kind of find that if someone has a hard time with particular part of being an organizer, just like how we tell our students, we should work on it, we should get better at it. And I think sometimes ego gets in the way a little bit.
So are you kind of advocating for people to like stop being like recognizing you have a weakness in this thing and just give it up to somebody else or go back to teaching?
I mean, it's like, it's not even that I have to like advocate for it. It happens, some people like, we see this, some people will try that hand of organizing and they'll just be like, it's not for me.
That's true, yeah.
And they give it their best shot. It's part of everything. A lot of people will want to go pro and they're like, it's not for me. I'll stick to having like a regular job. So,
like, yeah, go ahead.
I think that, it's the way the system is set so that you can only have so many competitions in a region. You essentially bought your into it, and now you are essentially a model that establishes what the outside world perceives as what a dance competition is going to be and how it's going to be run. Yeah, I don't think that it's really right to just because I bought it, therefore I should be successful.
I think that's what you were saying.
I think you have to earn your success, and if you're good at it, it's great. If you're not good at some aspect, get a partner. Have somebody help you out with your weaknesses. But at the end of the day,
that's what I do with my team. I don't want to say we are the best team, but for me, it's the best thing ever happened for me to run a com, because I do one thing, Rosendo do another, then do another.
Yeah, and I think that's smart.
Interfere to each other.
I think that's smart.
How we roll it, and that's why everybody did the feedback. It was like,
I don't know, it's not like we're shitting on all organizers here.
It's difficult to find.
It is very difficult to find a team.
There are many companies fail because of that. In beginning, everything is perfect, and it's not. Like restaurants, how many they open, how many they close, how many shop they open. They all started with very good food, but then on the road, something happened, right?
Yeah, I know.
So again, the strategy is everything today. Like,
yeah, I don't think that not any one person in this industry could not be successful. That's the reality. Is that if you have the will, you'll find a way. And so it's a matter of going and really like putting your ego aside, putting the assumption aside, and saying, I do want to be more successful. Like, what part of my event do I want to be more successful at? Do I want to have more people come? Do I want to have more audience? Do I want to have them have a great time so that they're more of a returning customer?
I want them out.
As you should. And it's like finding what exactly is it that you want to improve. I've used this word before, and I hope it doesn't like bite me in the what. But I feel like a lot of people in our industry are leeches. Because it's the assumption that there's already a machine running, and I'm just going to suck onto it, but I'm not going to create anything new.
Yeah, that's very common. Yeah, I think we all know that's way more common than we like.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's the unfortunate, I would say the biggest and most unfortunate part, because we need new blood.
Yeah,
we need new people.
So on that measure, like I was talking when I was in New York and Manhattan, we were kind of like, well, what would it actually look like? Well, we would look at the membership list, and let's say on the NDCA and it's bigger next year. It's bigger of like active competitors too, not just competition entries, because that's been a weird thing this year, is that a number of competitions have gone up in entries and down in total competitors. And so it's good for them, but that doesn't seem like it's good for the overall business. It's like we need bodies, right? So if from our side as teachers, then that would be, well, you're good at this, like for any, a lot of people got problems with you for whatever reason, like let's say you're a contrasting figure of some sorts. But what you do is you do a lot of stuff that a lot of people I think are kind of too fancy now to do. Like you go to I don't know, I saw you like at a mall doing like a performance on the tile with just the students or whatever. And then there's a bunch of people who don't dance watching that. That's hugely beneficial for like, and especially because, in some way you're like a gateway that people then, hopefully not everyone, but some people move on then from there to other people who aren't doing that. They just kind of expect stuff to float up to them, as people like you that are like really ripping it out of the ground. So if all of us were going to do something like, okay, next year, I don't know, some challenge, we should do like a hashtag challenge, hashtag new business challenge. Every teacher from scratch somewhere brings at least one new student 1 year from now to a comp. Given the member base, it's like 1,000 teachers. That's like a lot of new people coming in. And if everyone did just one.
We don't need to. Dan does it.
Dan does it for all of us.
For me.
Yeah, he's the front end for the entire dance business. And then for you, like, so we could bring like one new student each, and for you, it's provide the new people from the audience to watch us, and then there's a nice little cycle, and that would be, 1 year of that, 2 years of that.
Strategy.
Yeah.
I had to let you go.
Okay.
Because I'm judging.
Yes, busy man. Busy man.
Rita is very demanding. She's doing very good actually.
Well, clockwork, yeah, it's.
Me and Rita, we talk a lot because you know me.
Yeah.
Early is on time. On time.
Yes.
Late is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So Rita is very on time.
It's been great. It's been a great comp. Yeah.
More people, definitely more entries for sure, but a lot of people, the ballroom is busy.
And some new things, like the Jack and Jill thing last night was kind of cool.
See what the strategy.
Yeah,
the
the team match was kind of cool. Yeah.
Winning the Bay Area to me like this, which is good because I live here for 15 years.
Yeah.
I think this year is one of the best year of
for this comp.
in the Bay Area.
For this comp. Well, it had a
willpower, like you say, strategy, like I say. If now people like you create a new environment where new people coming in, you see now the industry growing. That's how we start the conversation. How we mean the industry growing, not just myself. I can try my best.
Yeah.
But I need you. I need him. I need you. Even with the podcast, you see all this stuff generate interest.
Yeah.
So that's what I say to everybody. It's not just the dancing. We are in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
The moment you go, I'm the champion. Solo.
Yeah, I can't. There's so much of that. It's so.
We need the champions. We need attraction.
Yeah, but we don't need them.
Champions.
I think we need every aspect of the industry.
We gotta always remember one person winning, all the other not.
Yeah.
One is happy. In the final 5, they're not.
Yeah.
This is what I do. Everybody is happy. In my event.
They seem like they walk around like they're
not to make happiness.